Hey guys, I hope you're all having a great day. Today I want to talk a little bit about the whole PlayStation announcing that they're going to stop producing physical discs altogether. So it's not just, hey, there's no physical disc for the PlayStation 6, which is already still unfortunate and really frustrating. They're going to quit producing any PlayStation games out of any of their plants starting in January of 2028. So if there is a relatively new PS5 game that you're hoping might stay in production for a while, unfortunately, the answer to that is no. They're going to quit making any physical discs as soon as January of 2028 hits, unless they backpedal and change their course or anything like that, which I wouldn't really hold your breath on that, but it would be nice to see them maybe backtrack this decision since the outcry from fans has been so strong. Now, I of course want to mention that this is coming out after GTA 6 announced that they're not going to be producing any physical discs at all. So Sony's really kind of backpacking off of that original announcement and probably trying to use it as some sort of justification to it. Honestly, I am of course not happy about it, but it is kind of a smart idea. They can point towards GTA 6 and say, look, that title was so successful despite the fact that it doesn't have any physical disc. And the obvious answer there is that, yeah, no duh, it's GTA 6. It's certainly not to say that there isn't people who are upset that GTA 6 isn't coming out with physical copies, nor is it to say that there isn't backlash at all. It's just to say that this game has so much hype behind it that of course it's going to be successful regardless of if they produce physical discs for that game or not. I mean, the game obviously hasn't launched yet, and I still have just the highest level of confidence to say it's going to be a blockbuster, and it's probably going to break sales records. It is also kind of fair to point out that this is a little bit hypocritical because back when the Xbox One was launching over a decade ago, Sony was making fun of Xbox for talking about how you can't share games with your friends, because I don't know if you remember this, or some of you might be young enough not to even really been around for that generation, but when the Xbox One originally was going to come out, they were going to do DRM checks and kind of do what Sony's doing for the most part, where they weren't getting rid of physical media per se, but they were locking it down to like one account and just having DRM, always online DRM checks, which was super frustrating. Luckily, they walked it back before the launch, but it definitely killed interest in the Xbox One and a big reason why Sony won that generation. And of course, Sony posted that now infamous video where they talk about how easy it is to share a game with your friends. And it's literally just a short video of them showing the game and handing it off to the friend. And that was how easy it used to be back in the day, but not so much anymore, at least not for the future. And I do think this brings up a lot of different really good points. One of which is that competition's really good in this industry because of those exact reasons. If Sony wasn't there to check Xbox would have continued down that path of making these really dumb decisions in locking down those games and having online DRM checks. Not to say none of that has stayed with us, right? The gaming industry and a lot of Xbox consoles, or excuse me, Xbox game sales as well as PlayStation game sales are digital, and they do kind of run into that same problem still. But with that being said, obviously back then we were going down this path where it was going to accelerate these really dumb anti-consumer decisions, and because Sony was there to check Xbox, they had to walk it back. Now we're seeing kind of the opposite effect where Sony's on top right now, right? They're definitely won the past couple of generations. There is a lot of interest for the PlayStation 6 console, which will be coming out probably in the next few years. And Xbox is kind of on the rebound, but still not quite there, right? Like they're still not at the same level as PlayStation. I was going to say Sony, but really they're not at the same level of PlayStation right now. And the sales numbers for consoles, even though they don't publish them publicly, excuse me, words are hard, we kind of already know that Xbox sales are way down compared to PlayStation. So Sony's king of the hill right now, and they're feeling really confident to make these decisions. Hopefully, if Xbox can rebound and really bring some competition to them, maybe they'll walk back some of these decisions and we'll see that balancing act again with having competition in the market. But with that being said, it's still frustrating we even have to go down this road, right? Like, why is it that these big companies continually make these bad decisions that everybody voices their concern saying, we don't want this, stop trying to do this? And Sony and PlayStation as a whole has had this problem for a while now. I mean, just recently, everybody's talking about it. They removed digital movies that people purchased because their licensing expired or they couldn't work out a new licensing deal. And again, we have to purchase a lot of stuff digitally now because we don't really have the option to purchase physically. And it just proves this really annoying point that people have been saying for a decade now, which is you don't own anything. You know, if you purchase something digitally, all you're really doing is renting it long term, which is unfair and ridiculous. It's not a rental, it is a purchase. We're not kind of, but actually are offered this promise of it being a purchase. It's not marketed as maybe it'll be for 7 years, maybe it'll be for 8, maybe it'll be forever, but we don't know. No, it's a digital purchase where we're supposed to own those movies, but obviously you don't own those movies. And you can point to different issues like movies and music licensing just being a nightmare, which I agree. I'm not trying to throw all of the blame on Sony, but I'm definitely not giving them an out either. But it doesn't mean that any of it's okay. Just because there's multiple culprits for really dumb decisions in licensing doesn't mean that they all just get off scot-free. It just means hold them all accountable. Movies licensing should not be this fucking ridiculous, and Sony should not be making these deals and then offering purchases for their customers for a permanent digital copy that is not permanent, right? If you know your licensing is not a permanent license, don't offer a product that you're selling that is supposed to be essentially a permanent license for the consumer to access it. Not fair. It is ridiculous. And it highlights the issue that us modern day consumers are getting screwed. And it's not fair, right? You're offered something and you're getting something else delivered to you, right? A rental for the price of a purchase, a promise of a long-term permanent offering to just have it stolen from you, which in my opinion, it basically is stealing it from the consumer. I don't know how or why this is legal. And trust me, I am not Mr. Oh, I hate big corporations. Like, I get that's really popular nowadays, and a lot of people will just shit on corporations for any reason possible. I'm not that guy. I don't mind big corporations. I definitely love capitalism. I'm just going to come right out and say it. But it doesn't mean that I agree with stupid decisions that are anti-consumer. And because of that, I want to focus this last little bit of this video talking about just the problem with modern day digital purchases. There should be this promise of having of a permanent digital copy. And the reason why people are angry about physical copies disappearing is for that reason. It serves as a check against that digital only platform, where if people are able to buy physical copies and know that that's going to last as long as that product lasts, right? As long as a disc is physically capable of staying, unscratched, unbroken, whatever, you own that product, versus the digital side where you're at the mercy of the company selling you this digital service. And with physical media being an option, that means that you have that kind of check toward that balancing system, where if you're not going to offer an actual platform that's going to promise you permanent status on purchases that are supposed to be permanent, then we'll just go buy physical media and you will get screwed out of those digital sales regardless. And Sony, as well as other companies, want you to do the digital because typically they get to make more money off of the digital and they don't have to worry about the production cost of producing something physical. So they want you to do the digital sale, but they're not offering you anything to really gravitate you towards that digital sale, exception of course, just the ease of it, right? You can just go online, buy it, access it online, and that's usually good enough for a lot of people. But again, if your main concern is, which nowadays it has been a main concern with a lot of people, but it's only been growing and growing among more and more people. If your main concern is having access to that license to actually guarantee that you own this product, well, then you're not really going to be as competitive on that digital side anymore, right? Consumers are opening up their eyes to the problem of that digital side because you did show them the problems with it. And now there's this demand for the physical media in order to combat those issues. And you're just taking away that choice because you want more money. I also think that this highlights that a lot of these people who are in these decision-making positions, like these executive positions to make these choices, aren't really the target market for these products, right? Like, you have a lot of business people who don't give a shit about gaming making decisions on gaming, and that's one of the problems with Xbox for the longest time, is that you had business people leading that Xbox brand and they didn't know what the fuck they were doing, and they definitely hurt that brand. Now it seems like PlayStation and Sony are having that same issue where they're pushing out a lot more of these kind of pro-consumer, pro-gaming leadership in order to replace them with these, hey, let's make more money type of leadership. The problem is when you don't actually understand the core audience, the target market for these products, you end up doing the opposite, right? You start scaring consumers away because you don't actually know what your consumer wants. And then you end up dropping in revenue and you have the opposite effect. It's the same thing as like let's look at another company like Intel, where they started putting business people in charge of that company. But the problem is those business people did not know how to really promote R&D, so then the product started to fall. And after the product started to fall behind, AMD Ryzen CPUs, well, then their sales dropped and they really had to put an engineer back in charge. Now, it's not to say that you always have to pick like an engineer over a business person. It's just to say that you need somebody in position who gets both sides, who can manage the business side, but also understand the consumer that they're targeting. And a lot of these companies just don't get that. And I apologize. I know this video is already getting way longer than it probably should. I'm just actually a really big fan of physical media. I like to collect physical media, not just in games. I also love like 4K Blu-rays on movies and stuff like that. To see this kind of issue start to gain wider attention is nice for me because of those reasons. But on top of that, it's not like I'm also an enemy of digital purchases. I purchase a lot of shit digitally. I play on PC quite a lot, and everybody on PC pretty much uses services like Steam. And I will say one difference between Steam and PlayStation is that Steam kind of has a better reputation than PlayStation, right? When people purchase games on Steam, they kind of have this confidence that that's going to stick around. And that's because the company, Valve, who owns Steam, built up that reputation from actions that they've taken to deserve that reputation, right? They have constantly been pro-consumer end to end. Granted, I know right now not a lot of people are happy with them because they've raised the price on a lot of their actual physical products like the Steam Deck, although I think majority of that is just because RAM is so through the roof nowadays. It's impossible to build any computer nowadays that's cheap. It's really annoying, but that's a side tangent. Valve is a very well-respected company in the eyes of gamers. That's not to say it always will be. I mean, there's a lot of companies I can point to that usually had good reputation with their fans, and then they make bad decision after bad decision, and that really erodes away that reputation. But for the moment, I don't think it's fair to compare PlayStation to Steam, because Steam has that reputation of really standing by, offering those products longevity, and really taking care of the customer. Meanwhile, PlayStation's over here kind of having these issues reoccur year over year. This isn't the first time that they've had digital content that was supposed to be lifetime purchases removed off of their store and removed from access to customers who purchase them. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I'm sure somebody out there is probably thinking that, and it is a good thing to think about. It's like, well, why is it okay on PC versus PlayStation? It's not necessarily to say that it's okay that PC games don't really have physical media anymore. I actually would love to see physical media on PC games, although I realize one of the reasons for that is just not a lot of people bought it ever since Steam really took over. But with that being said, I'm not giving PC gaming a pass for not having physical media, but I am giving Steam a pass because they built up this reputation that PlayStation really should shoot for, which is that they're offering these products regardless of licensing issues. Well, one, probably because they actually negotiate licensing fairly well, but two, they stand by their consumers and stand by this platform, Steam, being one of longevity and always having those products available for those customers if they want to come and re-download it 10 years later. I mean, I have games that I have purchased from, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago that are still going to be accessible on my Steam account. Anyways, I do want to wrap up this video with the last few couple of thoughts. I don't want to see PlayStation 6 or PlayStation as a whole fail. I want them to do good. Like I said, competition is really good for everyone. But with that being said, I definitely want to see Sony pivot to the right direction here. Backtrack this decision, understand the reason why fans are angry about this, and move forward in a direction that's going to be better for both the fans and you as a company, because like we talked about, making these anti-consumer decisions just leads to you eroding your reputation with your fan base and is going to lead to a decrease in revenue and a downfall of the company. We saw that with Xbox. They're on the rebound now, which is really good to see. But with that being said, they still aren't at the level that they used to be, right? Don't forget, Xbox absolutely won the 360 generation, but because they started the next generation, the PS4, Xbox One generation, on such a bad footing, they really shot themselves in the foot and screwed themselves over for that entire generation, as well as the next one. I mean, the Series X and the PlayStation 5, despite the fact that the Series X is supposed to be a more powerful console for about the same price, still lost to the PlayStation 5 because so many of those decisions they made in the previous generation hurt them on the next generation. So we'll see what happens next. Obviously, there's new moves with Xbox, and obviously they're in the news right now too for layoffs, which is the next video I want to make and talk about that. But for the moment, please reevaluate your decisions and hopefully pivot to the right decision of bringing back physical media, and understand why, because that's going to be why people want it. That is, because when you understand the why, then you can actually make those decisions more effective. And I think, like I said before, it could be beneficial for both sides. Anyways, guys, this video ended up being a little bit longer than most of my typical videos. Apologize for that, unless you like it. But with that being said, I really appreciate you guys sticking around, watching the whole thing. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. As like I said, I want to talk about the Xbox layoffs, as well as a bunch of other stuff that's kind of come out recently. But with that being said, thank you guys again, and I'll see you soon.